In this video we will look at some of the best abrasive belts for knife making, personal suggestion of mine on grit progression, and how to get really good finishes in the quickest time possible. Before we start talking about the belts, don't forget your PPE, very important before we carry on.
My name is Vince and I have worked in the abrasives industry for around 13 years, specializing in coated and bonded abrasives, which includes abrasive belts. I have tried, tested and compared most of the major global brands for industrial purposes, and now I'm sharing this video so we can help other people who would want to improve their grinding process for knife making. We won't go into too much detail in this video, as this is a super quick version, but I am intending to make a more comprehensive version of abrasive belts, so please let me know in the comments if you would be interested in watching that. If you watch the video all the way until the end, I will also show you how you can prolong the life of your abrasive belts and save money.
The interesting thing about knife making is there's no one way of grinding steel. There's several different ways of doing it, and it takes a lot of practice because it's a experience related sort of skill. So just keep doing it, don't worry about making mistakes, and if you follow these tips, hopefully you'll be able to improve your grinding skills a lot quicker. The general rule of thumb with finishing is the finer you start with your abrasive belt grit, the less work you'll have to do to refine those scratches.
Before we discuss the different types of abrasives, it's equally important to know the belt backing and how it affects your knife making process. Wide-weight backing belts are a lot more durable and can withstand more pressure compared to its siblings. Wide-weight back belts are ideal for medium to heavy pressure grinding, as the stiffness of the belts helps you push the abrasive grain better into the substrate you are grinding off. Speaking of pressure, this polyester back is my suggested choice of backing for ceramic belts and CUBITRON 2 abrasives, especially on the rougher grits like 36 to around 8 grit. This is not ideal for small contact wheels, as you'll crack the resin on the belt, but will work perfectly on large contact wheels or flat platen pads. Cloth back materials are the in-between backing for abrasive belts, as they give you some stiffness to apply some pressure but has medium flexibility at the same time. It's perfect for people who would want a belt that can be used both in medium pressure applications but also want to be able to blend or round off certain corners or edges, like the spine of your knife perhaps. The ideal polishing belt is the J-weight back belt due to its extreme flexibility and softer material, meaning less pressure onto the abrasive grain pressing on the substrate. Speak to GFS Knife Supplies to find out what the best belt backing is for your application.
We will dive into the grit progression later, but for now let's talk about the different types of abrasives. Knife makers usually work with either carbon steel or some type of stainless steel, and one of my favorite belts to use is the 3M CUBITRON 2. CUBITRON 2 belt is a precision shaped grain, or a PSG, with a semi-flexible polyester backing that makes it great for medium pressure stock removal applications. There are several different types of CUBITRON 2, but one of my favorite ones is the 784F, because it's the most versatile one out of the whole family. It has a grinding aid that is very different compared to conventional abrasives, so it prevents it from heating up, prevents rework, and just speeds up your job. CUBITRON 2 belts may be very technical, but when used with the right speed and the right pressure, it would leave a lot less scratches but actually grind the steel a lot faster. As an additional bonus, the CUBITRON 2 has got a polyester back, so that means you'd be able to grind it wet, which would allow you to work on the steel a lot longer.
Ceramic belts are also great for knife making, as they are some of the most hardest wearing minerals for stock removal, especially when you require something like 36 grit. Ceramic belts usually require high pressure in order to break down and produce a fresh new cut. If your ceramic belts are glazing, even if they are still relatively fresh, it probably is because you did not apply enough pressure and ended up with the steel loaded onto the belt. Most ceramic belts would have a polyester or a wide backing, which means it can also be used in wet grinding. There are also a few different versions of 3M TRIZACT, but the most common ones for knife making are the semi-flexible 237AA, the super flexible 307EA, or the infamous 337DC gator belts. The 237AA is an X-weight backing aluminium oxide belt that is very useful for blending scratches together or cleaning up previous scratch operations from your conventional belt. The 307EA is a resin bonded aluminium oxide and is a more flexible alternative to the 237AA, and is great for finer finishing and blending or rounding in corners. Both the 237AA or 307EA can be used wet. 337DC TRIZACTs are macro-replicated bricks that have multiple layers of abrasive and are designed for use on low to medium pressure applications. This belt is designed to be used dry and also has grinding aids to prevent metals from accumulating too much heat. There are lots of other types of abrasive belts for the industry, such as silicon carbide belts, surface conditioning belts or Scotch-Brite belts, conglomerate belts and agglomerate belts. Please let me know in the comments below if you want to know more about the broader range of abrasives to see if it can help you in your knife making process. As you guys may know, the grit size is printed on the back of every belt. Conventional abrasives having a FEPA grading system that usually says P36 or P60, P120, but you probably noticed that the 3M CUBITRON 2s look slightly different. The reason why the CUBITRON 2 belts have a plus sign is because rather than being a crushed and then screened like a conventional abrasive, the CUBITRON 2 technology is made and engineered with the precise amount of ceramic, which is hard and aggressive, and aluminium oxide grain, which is a great abrasive for finishing. This means a 60 plus is actually as aggressive as a grit below it, but leaves a 60 grit finish, or sometimes better when the right pressure is applied. Because the 60 plus leaves such a nice finish, I can confidently jump straight to a 120 plus or even to an A300 TRIZACT 337DC belt, or what is known in the US as gator belts. From there, it depends on whether your objective is a nice satin finish or a lovely mirror finish. If you're mirror finishing, you want to keep the grits as close to each other as possible, but if you're going for a medium polish or sometimes a satin finish, you can reduce the amount of grits or grades of the belt that you use, saving yourself a lot more time but still getting a really lovely finish. Let's take a minute to thank the people that have made this video possible. Thanks to MULTITOOL Products Europe, who do the 84 engineering belt grinders, Clark Knives as well, who offer professional heat treatment services and have a great range of British-made ready-to-grind Damascus. Check out their new wares on the link in the description below. Thank you as well to GFS Knife Supplies, who helped us make this video possible. Dave and his family run GFS and keep stock of most of these belts that you see in this video. These guys are extremely knowledgeable. They supply and stock a massive range of knife making tools. More than just this abrasive belts, they also do the rock blade heat kilns, Corby bolts, pins and handle materials, quenching oils and heat treatment products, and also the steel stock that you'll need to make your knife. Have a gander on the links below. Now let's continue our talk on the abrasive belts. As promised, here are some super quick tips on how to make your belts last longer. Most modern abrasives like the CUBITRON 2 have a grinding aid that cools while you grind, but it doesn't mean you will want to burn them out. So have a bucket of water next to your grinder. It's a great tip for many knife makers. My definition of medium or heavy pressure will be completely different from yours. Visually inspecting your old belts will allow you to understand how you can make your belts grind more and last longer. If you can see the grits chipping off your belt, means you're likely putting too much pressure. If you can see a lot of grit on your belt and they stop cutting, try applying more pressure to break the abrasive grit down. Another indication that you're not applying enough pressure is when you see deposits of metal on the abrasive belt. This is what happens to as loading, and it happens when you're causing too much friction on the metal but not enough to break down the abrasive grain. So what happens is the metal substrate transfers to your belt, which stops it from cutting. When your belts get loaded, you could use a diamond pad to try and clean it back up. As I mentioned earlier, if you really want to step up your belt grinding game and speed up your belt finishing process, please let me know in the comment section if this is something that would be of interest to you. I would love to know what your current grit progression on your belt grinding is. Is it working? What problems are you encountering? Let's discuss in the comment section below, and I will do my best to help you out. I hope you find this video insightful and valuable. Please give us that thumbs up if you feel you've learned something from this video. Thank you, and if you want to watch some really cool knife making videos, click one of these videos on your screen.
Spread the word. We'll see you in the next video.